Welcome to Monday Night Reading Sprints. I'm joined by my lovely friend Ashlyn. We are both melting, so commiserations if it is as hot where you are as where we are. And we're on different continents, right, Ashlyn? So I feel like
Different.
Are we on different continents? Are we?
I'm in Ireland.
Yeah, are you southern or northern?
Southern, but is it? We're the same continent, though, aren't we?
I don't know. Now I'm just questioning. We're on different islands. Let's say that, and then
we're definitely on different islands. But it's still absolutely sweltering.
I feel like I've only been to Ireland once, and whenever I go to place like Ireland, Scotland, Wales, all seem to be like swathed in mist and cool and a little bit drizzly when I go to them. So I'm like annoyed on your behalf that it's as melty where you are. That's where I am.
It is, yeah. It is usually pretty like drizzly, where it looks beautiful and it feels kind of just get out of my hair. So it's not fair. Not happy.
Yeah, I don't think I'm built for living in any of those countries just because my hair would be absolutely enormous. So are you planning to write this evening? Edit?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, I am. I sort of binge wrote Zero Draft on Friday.
I love how can I just pause on you wrote it on Friday, like not you started on Friday, finished on like you wrote the whole thing on Friday.
Yeah, well, actually Thursday because I started writing it during your sprints, and then I just got in a roll, and so I kept going, and then I tried to go to bed. My brain was like, or what if? I just sort of laid out everything, and I thought, okay, I'll get up and I'll just outline it. But then outlining it turned into writing. It's about 2 pages a chapter, basically, is what I've got now. So really, really short, but very much all the beats and everything like that, just sort of transcribed, like I was watching it in my head, like a movie. I just wrote down what I saw. So I can go back and I can fill it all out, and I'm probably going to change it a lot. But just so weird to go from not having a book to having a book. Well, not a book, but I am looking to work on that. But I have a presentation that I need to do first. And I know that if I start by writing, I'm never going to get to the presentation because I've got a school that I'm starting residency in tomorrow.
So, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's St. Mary's in Dungarvan, and I'm their champion of reading. So I've gone.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. They've been given like a big new library of books and everything, by Children's Books Ireland, and I'm to go in and encourage them to read and encourage them to write and just make it fun, not feel like schoolwork. So I think I can do that.
That sounds really cool. And you have just admitted that you don't know when to stop when it comes to the writing. So maybe get the kind of boring stuff done first, and then you can flesh out your draft. I don't know about you, but I like it when I've got a draft and I've got something to work with. I feel really twitchy until I've got to the end. Like I've just written an end for Mina 3 that I don't think will be the real end, but I just feel better knowing that I've got a point towards now.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I do. Yeah. Looking at the blank page on a chapter is just kind of terrifying. But also, like with zero drafting, like when you're going back to drafting something, if it's too well written, I find it quite hard to change it. So if I've worked really hard on the words and trying to make it sound good, I also struggle with fixing it. So I think, bunging down any old thing and just 3:30 in the morning, possessed by whatever possessed me, I think is probably the right angle.
And I have whatever summoning you did or like ritual to get that. I could do with some of that energy. I'd really like to draft a book like at the end of this year, like November to December. My schedule suddenly clears up a bit. I'm like, ooh, I could just write another book. So maybe I'll try it.
You should. I mean, it's never happened to me before. I doubt it will ever happen again. So it could hit you. Maybe it's just bouncing around the place. I know someone else who did that, wrote a book in a week, and it was actually good. It just happens sometimes.
Yeah, see, the Mina books come out with me slowly, but quite like the writing is good anyway. I wouldn't say that the plot is how it should be, but it reads quite nicely as I'm writing it. Like Laura Stephen was saying when I interviewed her recently that she writes like all the dialogue and then makes the writing beautiful in between over like several stages. But some of the things that I write like stay as they are from the very like zero draft, but that means I'm really slow and it's really annoying. And I haven't ever tried It's like kind of rattling through something. I just, because I see the detailed descriptions as I'm writing, like I have to write them down.
Yeah.
So I need to try it at some point. I might try your, maybe not the exact approach because I don't think I could survive it, but.
Yeah. I mean, I just reached the point where it was like 2:30 and I thought I should go to bed. I texted my brother who does live in another continent because he's in Texas. I was like, it's ridiculous. I'm up like very, very late on a school night. And he's like, but you don't have school in the morning. The kids have school in the morning. So if you stay up while you're on a roll, you can go to bed while they're in school. And I was like, well, that's all the enabling I need. Thank you, Sean. So I just kept going.
You need supportive people around you sometimes to just tell you to do a really wild thing.
Yeah.
Like that. So tonight you are doing the presentation, working on the shiny new thing. I'm going to do some Mina and the Cult edits. And I know I said I finished writing it last week, but I am going to there's some stuff I know that I need to do, although my editor is working on it. I'm not going to edit the actual document. I'm just going to like work on the overall map of it and like what I think needs doing. And then I can fit in what she thinks needs doing, hopefully. And then I've got this shiny book that I'm about halfway through. I absolutely raced through it over the weekend. It's called Tastes Like Honey. I don't really can see from the shiny cover, but it's I didn't know much about it apart from I'd seen it everywhere on like HorrorTube and horror like Instagram, saying it's a really fun slasher, and it is. It's so fun. It's a bunch of teenagers who you get to know really well in the first half of the book, and then they go into this abandoned amusement park and start getting murdered one at a time. And it's like watching a really brutal slasher film, but reading it in a book. So it's kind of a bit like a point horror, but like an adult version of, I think. But yeah, it's cool. And that's like looking at me, although I read it just before I went to bed last night and then laid in bed thinking that was really, really silly. Because I'm at the point in the book where I know there's just going to be like a death every couple of chapters. And it wasn't the most calming pre-bed read. But... So yeah, maybe I'll read a bit of that. But I keep doing this. I write and then I read it at the end of the night. Big mistake. Let's see who's in the comments and then maybe we can jump on our first sprint. Hello. Everybody saying hello to each other. This is nice. All these friendly folks. Oops, sorry, the comments are jumping up and down. So if I missed you, I do apologise. Ooh, interesting. I don't know anything about that. Do you, Ashley?
I do not.
You have to let us know. I think okay so far isn't the most exciting. Hopefully it'll pick up for you. Yeah, we're there with you. That sounds interesting. I was going to say that doesn't sound like you, Sharon. Then you said brutal, and I was like, okay, yeah, that does sound. I like the sound of a delicious puzzle of a read. Hi, Paula. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did look at the sun today and think at some point this is going to be the last time I see you for a while. But it was hard to kind of motivate myself to do much today. The vampire in the bookstore. Please tell us more, Paula. I need that. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't complain, should we? Because it will go cold and then I will next week be complaining that it's too cold for me. So please remind me of this. Yeah, this is it. I keep seeing all these like cozy posts of people with like cups of hot chocolate and stuff. And I'm like, not where I am. Yeah, I'm very impressed. Oh, seriously? I didn't know that. That's so interesting. Well, we're experiencing heat and also the sand in the atmosphere. Yes. Kings of the Wild sounds good. Oh yeah, the cover is weird. I don't know whether I think it's like candy floss on a stick.
Yeah.
First I thought it was a lollipop, but I think it's candy floss with the fluffiness. Yeah, sorry, I keep holding it up to the camera. Anybody who's not paying attention is going to get a surprise. Hi, Nicole, you're fine. We haven't even started sprinting yet. I haven't read that or anything by that author. Yep, nice and cozy. I hope you enjoy it. I'm really finding it very fun at the minute. It's kind of different than what I expected because it doesn't start with the kill straight away. It literally takes half the book, and normally that would annoy me. But I really enjoyed the getting to know them bit, and then it's hard when they start dying. Well, I'm not saying I would never read an adult smutty book. I could give it a go. You have to tell me how much will it make me cringe because I can't cope with that. If it's too much, I might, blush and. We are like YA middle grade folk here, so.
And Freedom when you're reading with the kids around too, right? You pick up a smutty book and you're like, "What? Yes, you can have a snack. Yes, darling. Of course. No, mommy's fine. Mommy's fine."
I know. I mean, I read stuff like this when Nathan's watching Peppa Pig, and I sit there like, oh, her head's just had something happen to it. And Nathan's like, what are you reading, Mummy? I'm like, just a book for grown-ups. It's fine. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. It's got sweeties on the front. Yes, it has, darling. Yes, I think we all need the autumnal weather, Ellie. Agreed. So let's do some writing, do some reading. Anybody who's not been here before, we do 40 minutes chat, 40 minutes chat, and then usually 30 minutes at the end. Occasionally I go rogue and do 40, but I don't know how I'll feel and how much time we do. It's all dependent on that. I also got sent a bag of chocolate snowballs with a wintry book today, so I am going to be eating snowy treats, but that's why it wasn't me that bought the snowy treats, it was somebody sent me it. So that's my justification to myself for eating winter snacks. Okay, so let's go to the sprint and we'll catch up with you on the side. Hello, how did we get on? How about you, Ashley?
Good.
A good sprint?
Yes, I had a good sprint. It was productive. I have to just look over and make sure all the like animations and transitions on the presentation work. But yes, it is. It's good. It's finished now, which is
Great.
Yeah, like I have sort of a template presentation that I've done a few times, but this is for a different age group, so I just needed to tweak it a little bit, make it a bit younger.
That's really cool. So is it a particular class you focus on then, or is it like the whole school?
Or so tomorrow's going to be my first day, and it's high stakes as well for tomorrow because they're going to be filming it.
Okay.
The program that's running it, Every Child a Reader, they're doing their sort of intro day there, and they're filming it, so they'll be filming my presentation. So tomorrow I will be focused on like 6th and 5th class, which is 12 and 11, which is obviously a little bit younger than, well, 12 isn't really, but like slightly younger than I write for. So I have to change it around a bit and make it a little bit broader, which is going to be fun. And then I'm going to do, hopefully throughout the school, I'm going to do all the way down to like junior infants, down to the 4 and 5 year olds that have just started. So they're obviously not getting a reading of The Werewolves and Vampire.
No, probably not. I don't know. I think it's inspiring, isn't it? Like I got talking to somebody in a queue at a theme park yesterday, and she was saying how her son's really into reading, and we got onto the fact that I'd written stuff, and he was so interested in it, and he was like 5 or 6, just starting reading. And it didn't matter that he's like, "Can I read your books?" And his mum was like, "Not yet, darling. Maybe in 8 years or something." But yeah, I don't think it really matters because it's just like knowing that that's a job you can do. I remember the first time I realized that like real people wrote books was probably when I was in primary school because an author came in. And I don't know, you just don't think about the real person attached to it until that point.
I think that's a lot of people. Like you think they're like all really like old, like the picture you have of a writer sitting with their typewriter and the cup of tea. I mean, I'm sitting at my computer and a coffee, so it's not that difference. But or they're dead, or they're David Walliams. Is I think everybody's concept of a writer.
Yeah, that's true. Because I suppose people like J.K. Rowling and David Walliams and like the kind of celebrity type. Also, no, J.K. didn't start that way. Like they're very visible, aren't they? And like you know what they look like. So everybody else is just like a kind of a blurry mystery.
Yeah, they're kind of like to a kid. The other writers are like extras in the bookshop when they go in to watch the like David Walliams and J.K. Rowling's of the Rolling of the Stars. So obviously we need to change that. That's what we're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've never been recognised as an author apart from very occasionally in a Waterstones, and that's like when I'm standing there signing my book, so it doesn't take too much to work it out. And at Yalk, a few people were like, "Oh, do you write this book?" But yeah, I think generally we're kind of not known as being a person. But yeah, I think it'll be great. It sounds like a really fun thing to do.
Really
and like have a good impact on the children too.
I hope so, yeah. Well, awesome. If they don't enjoy it, I will. So
I'm sure they will. I can't imagine them not. So I ended up working on a timeline thing that's been bugging me for a while. Like, do you ever write stuff and you're like, I don't actually know if this would fit into a day? So I do quite a lot of that. Like, I've written 5 days worth of material for one day. So I'm working on the beginning sequence. I had this really problematic timescale where nobody eats or like stops or anything. So I'm just kind of checking that it tracks. And so far, it's not looking too bad. So that is going to take me, it's annoying though, it's like one sequence in the book that could take me like another hour to sort out, but I think it'll be worth it because I hate stuff like that in a book. If I was reading a book and all the timeline was off, I think it'd pull me out of the story. So
yeah,
annoying, but needs doing. Oh no, hope he's all right. I know what that's like, as you know, Paula. I wonder if that's weird in a good way, Sharon. Is it weird in a too much way? Hi, Kirsty. That sounds good. Good luck. I don't know what you say for a presentation. Like, is there a thing like, you say break a leg on stage? I feel like we need a writerly equivalent, like for school visits. We'll think of something. Oh, what do we say in one of my debut groups? We said tear a page, I think, instead of break. Tear a page.
Tear a page.
So yeah, tear a page tomorrow. Nice, productive. Just another missing piece. That title's a bit like hard hitting, isn't it? That's good. Are you enjoying it, Nicole, so far? So I've got a few admin things to do with Kev and on my computer and stuff, so I'll be all over the place in this next sprint, so I may vanish at points, but I am here. I'm just using Kev's brain to help me figure some stuff out. Yeah, I'm sure my group won't mind me sharing that. It's a little thing we say to each other when our books come out and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to be all over the place in this. Are you going to get on some writing in the next one then?
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to just run through it very quickly. Like I said, make sure all the animations work, and then I'm going to get on to writing. And
Awesome.
It's really going to feel like a treat. I hope it's as good as I'm feeling like it's going to be, because I'm really excited to get to it. And I don't always feel that way about writing, or I haven't always recently. I was struggling with stuff that it just wasn't the right fit for my mood. And this book obviously is. So.
Oh, and yeah, I know that feeling. And I think the fact that it's just something you've thought of yourself and you're really passionate about. It's like, it's not to a really tight deadline. It's not to anybody else's criteria but your own. I think that you can really make it what you want it to be. It's great. I'm sure it will be. I have a good feeling about it. And it's at that point as well when nobody has to read it. Like, you can do wonders with it, can't you, before your agent or whoever gets hold of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sharon's just explaining the weird comment. So it has every triggering content warning. Maybe not one for me. I'm not sure I can handle that.
But it's Sharon, so I assume that's a weird good then. If it's
possibly.
Good, right?
If it's making Sharon think content warnings, then it's definitely got a lot in there. Okay, so let's go to the next 40-minute sprint, and we will see you on the other side. Hello, everyone. How did it go, Ashley? Oh, sorry, I'm not on mute. You hang on. That didn't work.
Is that better?
Okay. Yeah, got it. I think we tried to unmute each other together and like cancel each other out.
No, I had headphones in to listen to music. It thinks it's got a mic, but it doesn't because the mic needs a whole other jack that just won't plug into my laptop. But when I unplugged it there, it said that my mic had been unplugged. So I think the system just sort of freaked out. But yeah, it went okay. My presentation's looking fine, I hope. And 100 words. Sprint you.
Sorry, I lost you very slightly at the end. So how did you, the actual writing? I heard presentation good. Was the writing good as well?
Oh, yeah, just a couple 100 words. It's gone pretty well. It's a lot of fun. It's just my usual silly monsterishness and more gore than I was planning. I am starting to think, I'd started this as a mid-grade as well. I am starting to think it's YA, just because I'm seeing opportunities for gore and grossness where I'm like, okay, maybe a 10-year-old doesn't need to read that, but maybe I do want to write it. So
it's tricky, isn't it? My current like other project that isn't Mina and the Cult, I thought was going to be an adult book, and I started writing it and sent it to my agent. She was like, yeah, it's YA. You do know it's YA, don't you? I was like, yeah, I was thinking that. I was wondering what you were going to say. And it's weird, like I've got ideas that are definitely adult, but that one could have gone either way. And the same with yours. I think it could. It's like the amount of gore, isn't it? It's the like day-to-day stuff the characters are going through. If that's starting to feel like teenagers,
yeah,
like are they falling out with their friends and like having angst over teachers and homework and stuff, or are they like having kissy relationships and like worrying about growing up and like becoming an adult in a scary world type thing?
Yeah, because it's not that kind of a world. There is no school.
Interesting. I feel like you're working on or have worked on several things, so I'm like I've lost track of which one this is. You'll have to tell me afterwards.
But I think I can probably say yes. It's set in a sort of post-apocalyptic kind of. That's nice and vague. Yeah. So it is post-apocalyptic. So any of the struggles that they're having are going to be differently couched anyway. And I just think maybe that they're winding up a little bit more depressed than I was expecting them all to be. I don't blame them because they're living.
Have you read The Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that's an interesting. There's a couple of interesting post-apocalyptic books if you're interested. There's that one and My Love, Life in the Apocalypse by Melissa Oliver are both like.
How many do you have?
Both different takes, I would say, on an apocalypse and post-apocalypse, and like quite hopeful. So it might be nice to kind of see that, like what, because I do think, yeah, I see the depression thing and like, you know, sitting around and feeling really bad about what's happened. But those characters kind of, there's a realistic sense of sadness and stuff about things, but they're also getting on with it and finding their way in this world.
Yeah, I think because this one, I think the reason it clicked with me is because I'm going through kind of like sadness stuff in real life at the moment. So they're sort of the stories about them like processing being really sad, and then by the end they come out hopeful and whatnot. But I think because it's all of them, it's not just one person. I think maybe it's a bit much for a mid-grade story, but I'm not. I mean, I still want it to be funny. I don't want it to be like mega bleak or anything like that. But I think
I'm sure it will be. You're still writing it, so you'll still have pithy dialogue and good fight scenes and stuff like that. And like you said, gore. Yeah, I think maybe just don't worry about it too much, like categorizing and stuff, because I always get told that my book falls between like 5 different genres, like the Mina book certainly. And some people say it's horror. Some people, I get put on all kinds of panels for it. I'm on a romance one for Yelp.
Romance. Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like it's part of it. It's there, isn't it? So I've like stopped worrying about that. I think I was worried about it initially, but I kind of think that readers like a bit of a mixture of stuff. So yeah, I think just keep enjoying it, and like it'll tell you, I'm sure, the characters will suddenly like kiss each other or something, or like murder each other, and you'll go, oh, it's YA. Okay.
Or both.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds pretty perfect in my book. Oh, nice. I read 16 Souls at virtually the same time as Big Bad Me. I think I had the ebook of Big Bad Me and a physical proof of 16 Souls. So, like, when I was reading a book, I was reading 16 Souls. When I was reading Big Bad Me, it was like on my Kindle. So, like, those books are just completely like interwoven in my mind, and I love it because they've got like a similar vibe, and like a similar vibe to the Mina books as well. I think like fun meets spooky.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. Thank you for joining us, Catherine. Oh, bless him. You didn't see because the camera was off, but I went and had a little visit to a small person as well, but it wasn't a long visit. So he feels absolutely, it's boiling in it, like the whole house. So I think it's probably like the heat. I don't know if that's the same with Wyatt, but Nathan seems to struggle to sleep on nights like this. I mean, that's linked to reading. That feels productive to me. And also sprints are really bad for that. Like all the books you want to buy.
Oh no.
Too much for Sharon. Okay. If anyone wants an extreme book, scroll back through the comments and find the name of this one because Sharon's found a book that's almost too much. Yeah. I mean, that's part of what sprints are about, isn't it? Yeah, I think that it sounds like you're perfectly virtuous there. Yeah, I know. I think that we all need to go back and check. We all know you so well, Sharon. Everybody's like having the same shock.
Almost too much. Okay.
Oh, bless. We all love Sharon. Okay, so we are doing pretty well for time. I think I'll still do 30 minutes because I can feel the heat making my brain like very mushy. So let's finish off on a 30-minute sprint and then we can have a final chat to wrap up. So you're going to keep writing now the presentation is done and dusted?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I'm on a mixture of editing and like admin tasks. I just signed a few book plates because remembered I promised them to a bookshop, and I signed a copy of Taste of Darkness I'm sending to somebody. So I just was all over the place and did a little bit of editing. I sorted the timeline problem. So that's one scene that has a perfect timeline now, I think. But it was it was one of those ones where it goes over a longer time period than normal. Like I think my books normally are over quite a short time period, but that covers like 12 hours or something. So I had to make sure that it's the right time of day because I can kill some of my characters with the sunlight if I'm not careful. Like, oh, they arrive somewhere and it's the middle of the day, dead. So yeah, I need to just be really careful about times. I'm obsessed with times of day in the Mina books. I don't know whether you found that in Big Bad Me, but I was like really conscious of when they're waking up and falling asleep because it could go really wrong for some people.
Yeah, and yours is set. The first one anyway, was set during the summer, which is so much harder. Like Big Bad Me was intentionally set in winter in Canada because the days are just really, really short. So it's like, okay, yes, there's sunlight, but not that much of it. So yeah, and I did like at one point I wrote, this was years ago, I wrote 2 sequels to Big Bad Me, and I had all these workarounds for like, in the summer and blacked out vans and like, I feel like post-COVID it would be quite easy for vampires to cover up more because masks everywhere and a lot, I think they could get away with it more than they could have before.
Yeah, it's a bit hard in New Orleans because it's really hot a lot of the year. So like if you've got a big blanket over your head and stuff, people might think you're a bit weird. Whereas like England in the middle of winter, if you went out with a blanket, I don't think anyone would judge you, probably. Not too much anyway. I did just hear a little voice upstairs, so I'm going to go and investigate that. So I'm going to start the next sprint. I think that I might have a buddy for this evening's sprint. He's done quite well so far, so we'll see. So let's set this one to 30 minutes. This is last sprint, and we will see you on the other side. So that is it for the final sprint. I wasn't ready. The cat meowed and surprised me, and then I set off a book avalanche behind me, so completely not prepared at all. So how did you get on, Ashlyn? I think you're muted at the moment, but when you're unmuted.
Oh, yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that a good one?
Yeah, it was good. I've written about 1,000 words tonight. I got about 700 done this morning while the kids are in school as well. So it's a productive sprint.
Great.
But they always are magic, aren't they? I get more done at these sprints than like any other time.
Yeah, I think we're going to get the I say we because Kev's part of this writing team. I think I'm going to do the subscription to StreamYard just that I can do more of these because I find it really productive. I just find talking to people as well, like the built-in breaks in between are so lovely, and kind of interacting with people in the comments. I just really like it. So I'm hoping I might be able to do at least a couple a week, if not maybe like up to 3 or maybe even 4. Just because it's nice for people to have options on different nights, and even if there's not many people here, I can kind of still find that productivity for myself. So yeah, that's the plan. And also I can use it for like author interviews and stuff as well. So yeah, there's lots of benefits. Yeah, I ended up doing some admin stuff, going up to a little boy a couple of times who just seemed very hot and grumpy. Didn't really properly wake up, but you know where they make a noise and they want you, and then you get up there and they're half asleep.
Yeah, I've heard my 2 of my 3 have been running around the place and being grumpy, kind of out of character grumpy, not regular grumpy. So I think the heat is stopping them sleeping too.
It's hot. It's hot. It's the beginning of the school year. I think there's a lot. Like I think Nathan's processing these starting school for the first time, so it's a lot for them to think about. Got some books in the comments that I love. Yes, so the sequel, I think that some people put the exact dates. I'll jump to it so I don't mangle the title yet. So 12 Bones out in October. Excellent, Paula. That'll be a good thing to do because I'm probably going to have to at least skim read book 1 to remind myself. Because I probably read it last summer or even earlier in the year, I think. Yes, they are. It looks very, very gorgeous. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I don't know whether I've pre-ordered it, so I need to make sure. Paula says hi, Kev. Kev's part of this team. Oh yeah, he's giving you a foot. Hello, Paula. To be fair, I've seen the foot a couple of times. I think Paul. You've probably seen Kev on screen odd times, Paula, and other people. He just come and sit with me sometimes in our like cozy seat. Yeah, I think it's really good for everyone, isn't it? Having that routine and them being in their own little people out in the world. I think Nathan's ready to be his own little person. Like, you see the signs of them becoming more independent and stuff. So it's scary if we're all involved. But he was telling everybody proudly that he was starting school at the farm today. So I'm hoping that's a good sign. Guess where I'm going tomorrow? I'm going to school. It's like opening line to everyone. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I think I started writing an email as well when the cat meowed and scared me. So I think I need to go finish my email. Are you gonna write a little bit more tonight, or are you done?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going until I'm finished this chapter. I'm at a really, really fun bit. They're doing monster bits, which is always fun. There's monsters and gore.
Excellent. Well, when we go off live, I'm going to ask you which project it is, so everybody else. But that's it for the night. That's the kind of public bit of this, and I'll maybe chat to Ashlyn for a minute afterwards and pick her brains about a book. So I will be back on Thursday. I've got some fun author interviews lined up for this month. One that hasn't been announced yet, and one I'm going to be interviewing Kendara Blake. The date to be concluded to chat about this books, this month's YA Book Club read, which is Anna Dressed in Blood. It's one of my favourites. It's an amazing YA horror. So I saved it because there's a new edition of it coming out this month as well. So if anyone fancies checking that out, thank you. Me too. It's definitely a high point of my week chatting to all of you. I hope you enjoyed, Sharon. You have to let us know what the extremity level was like.
I love Sharon just actually finishing an extremely disturbing book. And so I'm just going to finish the last 50 pages of this excessively disturbing book and then off for a good night's sleep.
Yeah, just before bed and then wake up fresh for work the next day. That sounds about right. Okay, night everyone. I'm going to sign off here and then hopefully we'll see you at the sprints on Thursday.